All
Thank
right.
you, Hugo.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all so much for logging on today and joining us for the webinar. My name is Alyssa Rude, and I serve as the program coordinator for the Hugo Main Street. This is our How We Started and our funding page. I'm going to let Jillian, our Main Street manager, take over from here.
So good morning, everyone. For those of you who were on our call yesterday, I spoke a little bit about networking. I've had lots of conversations historically since we formed our Main Street program in 2019. Most of the founding members are still on our board, and it has been a desire by really all of us as a team to strategically long-term think about how we can develop our community and develop our community in a more into we're a small town of 800 people on the Eastern Plains, and how can we really make a long-term impact on the vitality and survivability of our community. And we do feel like there is a leadership gap in our senior members of our community, and how can we really actively strengthen that, which ultimately affects our economy, it affects our relevancy, and how can we invest in our people locally so that we can have that long-term impact looking forward, even though that impact may only be realized after our lifetimes. And so it's been the desire for a very long time for us to develop a junior Main Street program. We did reach out to Larry and Gail and Tracy. There's a couple Main Street programs peppered across the nation. And we went and looked at the programs that they offered, and really what were we looking to offer. And our focus and goal at the root of it is really to develop leadership, to strengthen, again, like I said, to strengthen our community and our economy. There was a component in that desire where our small businesses on our Main Street are our community leaders. And that's where the leadership component ties in. To be an entrepreneur, you have to have leadership. You have to self-regulate, you run your own business, you're very responsible for very many things. And so the root of going into entrepreneurship is really, having leadership components. And if we can instill that in our youth at a young age, there'll be less of a struggle when they're older and navigating through their entrepreneurship experiences. We collectively, between the town council and Main Street, have worked very hard to provide, help change our community to be a place where people want to live longer or come back from college, so we can retain population. So that's another component of entrepreneurship and leadership of the youth that we're investing in for our long-term survival. So we had this dream and this goal. We spoke about it for 4 years. What components do we need? What do we think we'd like to do? And we finally put it as a very serious item on our work plan about a year ago. And I reached out to another peer in the nonprofit world on the Northeast region, and she spoke with me about the AmeriCorps member program. And I was like, well, that would be great, because we could provide some services that are required through AmeriCorps, and some of the initiatives of the programming of the position will tie into helping with our developing and serving our youth through the initiatives through the AmeriCorps. So we were able to create, actually we've had 2 people serve in this role. So the first one served for 3 months and help us get our feet on the ground of what our program would look like. She's a school teacher. And I, in my role as being the Main Street manager, have very limited capacity to fully develop the program. So it was not ever going to be able to be taken off the ground if we didn't have another person to help with it. And then Calissa is serving in this role for a year. Hopefully she wants to continue doing that afterwards. We haven't chatted about that yet, but she's been absolutely brilliant. And the success of this program is both we were able to get funding. I've developed a great network across the state who has supported this. And then also because of Calissa. So we needed some money, but also we had someone really focused and passionate about executing this program. And Calissa's excellent relationship with the school and being able to navigate the programming availability for our youth in the school. So from a funding standpoint, we are a nonprofit organization. So we do have some dedicated funding from our municipal government, but it's a very small amount and not something that we could allocate to funding this program. So through much time spent in developing relationships with philanthropic organizations, we were awarded a grant from the Betcher Foundation, which is called a Catalyst Grant. They award that annually. It's up to $10,000 that you can apply for. They support many things with this grant, and it's an excellent opportunity for any of our organizations, if there's any type of initiatives that they're looking at for their community, to apply. It's a one-time grant. You can't go back and apply over and over for it, but you do need to attend their Rural Leadership Collaborative trainings, which are quarterly, for you to be eligible for this grant. So they're an excellent resource. They're very invested in supporting our communities and our initiatives, but you do need to spend some time learning from them as well. So they awarded us funding, and then through the National Main Street Conference, I attended in Richmond, just through networking and sharing our dream and desire of this programming and the need for funding. One of the people that I actually met at the conference came up to me the next day after our conversation, and he said, "Hey, what's your FEIN? I am on the board of a nonprofit foundation in Tennessee, and we're going to send you some money." And it was a totally unexpected blessing. I know if we didn't receive that money, we would have applied for grants at other philanthropic organizations that are invested in supporting leadership programming, and we would have one way or another found that money, probably through a lot of grant writing. So it was like an angel blessing to come and just say, "Here's a check to your program. We want to invest in your youth." But I think it's important to share that message, that when your organization is passionate about something and it's an important, good story for your community, proudly share that, because you never know what's going to happen and who's listening. And so that's really how we got our funding and how we got started. And I'm going to hand it back over to Calissa. I know she's packed it full of information about the meat and bones of our program. But if anyone does, they don't come about overnight. I do want to express that this did take 4 years for us to get to this point. We've just closed out our first year of program, and through conservative spending and budget, we do have enough funding to do a second year of programming. I will be writing grants to try and expand the program, but we are just blown away of how successful this has been. One of our board members is the school board president, and she is like, "We will continue to vote as a school board to have this during the day at the school, because this, like, we over-delivered, and it's been incredible and everyone loves it." So Calissa, you take it away. You deserve all the glory.
Thank you so much, Jillian. All right. I thought I would start by sharing a little bit about the program itself. The Junior Main Street was created to develop opportunities in leadership, encourage homegrown innovation, and increase accessibility to education and sustainable business practices and personal development among the youth of Lincoln County. Alongside these initiatives, the program sought to encourage community engagement, prepare members for their goals, and cultivate an interest in community revitalization and sustainability within its members. With these components in mind, we really considered the resources that were available to us and that we could be leveraging to advantage or to benefit these students. And more specifically, as Jillian has kind of mentioned, she has this incredible network, and we really considered the human capital that was available to us in terms of those resources. Jillian and the Hugo Main Street have incredible connections across Colorado from a range of backgrounds, disciplines, and professional landscapes, and we really wanted to capitalize on that knowledge, the experience, and the insight of those individuals. And our members frequently referred to the group as the future leaders of rural Lincoln County. This is a name that they kind of referred to the group as and referred to us as. The program operated under the guidance and design of Jillian Laycock, with myself, Calissa Rude, organizing and conducting the sessions alongside an array of knowledgeable and experienced hosts. Another pretty major component of this program was that we had the support and facilitation of the Genoa Hugo student counselor, Amy Seymour, throughout the program to assist with the scheduling and communication with the students. These students honestly weren't familiar with using email to communicate with one another or to receive correspondences from like an educator even. And so that was something that we struggled with communication and just kind of figuring out how best to even inform them of when the sessions are going to be, or like the session work that we need them to return. Before we started the program, we engaged students with a presentation about the program and the content that we would be exploring, and kind of just discussed with them more what we would actually be doing during the sessions. A major component of that as well was sharing the time commitment with them. They have pretty busy schedules in Hugo. Many of our students are very involved in FFA, they're very involved in sports, or just in general, they do a lot of extracurricular activities, and the time commitment was a pretty large component for them. And also a part of that too is we have students who are engaging in college courses through our local community college. So they sometimes have a little bit longer course periods or different scheduling hours than some of the other students. So we really had to work with the school and with the school counselor and with the educators inside of the building to kind of figure out when would be the best day and time for this to work. Altogether, we held 4 monthly sessions. Excuse me. Some in person, some conducted with the host remotely. We also held 4 remote sessions with organizer and founder of TEDx Grand Junction and distinguished Toastmaster Mary Watson, and we had 1 8-hour session in person with Mary Watson. Here is just a little bit more about our structure within the program. We wanted to make our expectations and kind of the rules surrounding the program very clear to the students and our members. Our expectations of the students in the program were fairly simple. We asked that they attend and engage in all of the sessions. If attendance was not possible, we asked that they watch the recorded copies of the session and engage in the session work. We asked that they submit a feedback survey as well as a reflection form detailing how our members intend to use their financial award. And we asked that they remain in good academic and behavioral standing with the Genoa Hugo High School, as well as be kind, attentive, and respectful to our hosts and to all members of the program. And finally, our program was only open to juniors and seniors. We made this decision, 1, because of our own capacity, and 2, because the content that we were covering is a little bit more relevant to those students because they are closer to kind of figuring out their career path, or maybe deciding on if they want to pursue secondary education or if they want to pursue vocational training. They're a little closer to kind of graduating and having to have those things figured out, and we felt that it was important that we were making these resources available to them. Here I have our monthly sessions. Our monthly sessions were held on the same day and time of every month. We really wanted to reinforce it as a fixture within the school. This not only made it easier for us to schedule, but it also really helped us to say, like, hey, we're in the school now. We have a date and time that we're going to be here. And that was important because time is honestly hard to come by within the Genoa Hugo High School. We had to compete a little bit at first, especially when we were first starting this, and when the educators and the administration wasn't so sure about what the results were going to be. We really had to fight for that time and kind of establish ourselves in the school as being a part of the school and being a program that is going to be available in Hugo for our students. Also, it helped create more stability for the student schedules because they could expect to have their Junior Main Street session on the second Monday of every month at the same time. Our monthly sessions included Icebreakers and Relationship Building with Denise King, Resiliency, Perseverance, and Sticking With It by Chris Heelskamp, Navigating Through Complex Situations and How to Work with Difficult People by Jennifer Holloway, and Service Opportunities with Calissa Root. In our Icebreakers and Relationship Building with Denise King, this is our first session, and it really focused on building and strengthening relationships with a particular emphasis on networking and forming new connections. We recognized that there were struggles among the group with speaking in front of their peers, and we provided methods to overcome these challenges through guided discussions with our host and interactive activities with the group. Resiliency, Perseverance, and Sticking with It by Chris Kielskamp. This session was facilitated by the Flagler FBLA instructor. He's also a semi-local entrepreneur in Flagler. The group engaged in a guided discussion that was reinforced by personal experiences from a southeastern Colorado background. They discovered strategies for handling failure, advancing through challenges, maintaining momentum in the face of obstacles or setbacks, and persisting with one's goals. The members also discussed methods for developing problem-solving skills, confidence in themselves and their ideas, as well as the ability to find the path to the progress that they seek. Our third session was actually with the executive director of the Craig Chamber of Commerce. This session surrounded interpersonal dynamics, forging new connections, making effective and impactful connections, and collaborating with a diverse array of people. Members learned about healthy professional boundaries, the importance of adaptability and empathy in successfully navigating professional relations and resolving conflict in one's own endeavors. Our final session was with myself, Calissa Root. The session consisted of a guided discussion with the students. I really wanted to incorporate them into this conversation. And I say discussion, but I really, really wanted it to be more of a conversation about their opinion and how they kind of perceive what the Hugo Main Street is doing. And not just Hugo Main Street, but also the service opportunities for service work in our area and the organizations that are filling the gaps or filling the needs within our community. The session consisted of a guided discussion of the importance of service and service work, particularly within rural regions like our own. The members explored the value of investing their time and talent back into their communities and shared and learned about the efforts, events, and opportunities for service that are local to them. The members also discussed the power of their impact and the importance of being involved in the initiatives around them and with identifying areas of need. We also discussed equity, accessibility, and sustainability within rural regions. And ultimately, the members gained perspective on how service and service careers can create impactful change, provide learning and leadership opportunities, and improve the sustainability, equity, and accessibility of areas like theirs. So, as I mentioned earlier, scheduling can be a little bit difficult in Hugo, and particularly with the school. We have so many students that are involved in extracurricular activities. And again, we have a good majority, particularly with the juniors and seniors of those students, are in college courses. So we really did not want to take away from their education or take away from their extracurricular activities or make this something that they were going to have to kind of choose between one thing or the other. So instead of having just one closing session, we broke it up into several closing sessions. We did want it to be a hallmark event. We wanted it to be a big event for the end of the program, our first year, and give them an experience that they may not have had before, or kind of put them outside of their comfort zones, to be honest. Many of our members engage in community college courses. We broke it up into several sessions. Our closing sessions were hosted by Grand Junction TEDx organizer and founder and distinguished Toastmaster Mary Watson. The students' work culminated in our closing session and consisted of the TED Ed and Toastmasters International Youth Program with Mary over 4 remote sessions and 1 8-hour in-person session that was held at the school. Our remote closing sessions, we started off our sessions with Mary with introductions and just trying to get the students more comfortable with speaking in front of an audience and even each other. That was something that we had noticed within our first session with the students, actually, that they really struggled to speak in front of each other. Their own peers was a difficulty in communication. And it was a challenge, honestly, getting them to interact with us and to get them to respond to the hosts that we were bringing in and getting them comfortable with speaking openly or in front of other people at all. And we really, really wanted to get them comfortable. We wanted to address that fear and anxiety, and we wanted to get them to a point where they felt confident in their ability to speak. So we started off just getting them more comfortable. And in session 2, we really honed in on the anxiety and fears associated with public speaking and the struggles that we had been observing within the members of our group. We did exercises to build up confidence, impromptu speaking exercises. We did positive affirmations, and we worked with Mary to identify what our speakers were doing well and what they needed to improve on. In our third session, it was more designed to build member confidence up. Once again, we were really focused on that public speaking component of it. And not even just public speaking, but impromptu speaking as well, because these students are going to be in scenarios in their real world life, job interviews or proposals, meetings where they're going to have to present something or interact with another person. And we wanted them to be able to do so in a confident way. We wanted them to feel good about the discussions and the networking and the communications that they are having with the world around them. And we did this by considering their passions, considering their interests, considering their talents and their goals, and kind of identifying how they can turn these into impactful topics that they're able to speak on. In the same stroke, the members of Hugo do not have access to a speech team. So for many of these students, this was their first time impromptu speaking or preparing speeches to share with anyone. And we really wanted to go through the components and the structure of a speech as well, and kind of give them the tools necessary to succeed in speaking and communicating with others. Session 4 concerned itself more with the actual delivery of speech and the nuances and importance of nonverbal communication. We went through body language, gestures, nonverbal communication, voice variety, vocabulary, and engaging with their audience. We also went over effective closings and constructive criticism. Our final session was held in person at the Genoa Hugo High School and lasted approximately 8 hours. Students were excused from the regular class schedule and instead participated in a session hosted in person with Mary. This day session was a lot. We packed it in as much as we could, and we truly, by the end of the day, it was like a night and day difference from where those students had started in the morning to where we ended at, 4 or 5 p.m. at the end of the day. We went over choosing impactful topics, message development, impromptu exercises, the importance of storytelling and structuring a story. But the session itself was more of a comprehensive workshop aimed at guiding participants through the process of choosing impactful topics, of developing their messages, of honing their public speaking skills. Participants engaged in a variety of activities, including impromptu exercises, storytelling, and identifying ideas that they were passionate about. Through guided practice and feedback from Mary and myself, attendees learned to transform their ideas into compelling speech topics, write speeches that have clear messages, and refine their delivery techniques. Throughout the session, emphasis was placed on the components of a good speech, methods of delivery, and effective storytelling. Participants had the opportunity to deliver prepared speeches in front of their peers, receive peer feedback, and then later benefit from individual one-on-one coaching with Mary. The session concluded with a final presentation of prepared speeches, allowing participants to showcase their progress throughout the program and receive personalized feedback and improvement strategies from Mary. By reinforcing the methods, techniques, and content that we had covered within the session really empowered participants to deliver impactful speeches with confidence and conviction. I mean it when I say that there was a tangible, a noticeable difference in the ways that the ways that our members were speaking at the end of the day. And I go into the school frequently still to help with things and to help with our members with their reflection forms or with their feedback stuff. And I had a student yesterday tell me that how much she enjoyed the program and how she legitimately feels that it has helped her. And in particular, she mentioned that she had to speak in front of her church. She only had to speak for 15 minutes and she went way over the time. And before that, and she mentioned this herself, before that, she was struggling to speak on a topic for 2 minutes. And I genuinely can see the impact that our program is having already. It's been fantastic. But here we just have some more members of our junior Main Street delivering their prepared speeches. Here are our session outcomes. We are still collecting data concerning the outcomes and impact of the program and the sessions that the students conducted, and the sessions that the students participated in. One way that we are doing so is through the feedback survey that I had mentioned previously. We're asking students to detail their experience with the program and their perspective on how it has impacted them and what they have gained. But thus far, we've received a lot of feedback surrounding leadership, personal development, public speaking, networking, and overall having a better comprehension and less fear towards professional interactions and communicating professionally. Additionally, we are really excited to share that we've seen more youth interest and engagement in community events and concerns. And we've also been observing self-reported better preparedness for professional encounters and the self-reported improvement. It's awesome to see that when you first started with a group that struggled so deeply with their own confidence, to have them reporting that they have better confidence and to have them telling me that they think that they've done better and that they think that they're doing better is groundbreaking. But some of our outcomes: cultivation of self-confidence, the ability to identify ideas and impactful topics, delivery techniques, the importance of nonverbal communication cues, the ability to speak spontaneously and confidently in front of others, to interact with an audience genuinely and compellingly, the development of the adaptability necessary to communicate in real-world situations, leadership and personal development skills, critical thinking and problem solving, interpersonal dynamics. And this was a really important one that I was really glad that we included within our sessions, was handling failure and overcoming adversity. That's not something that you often experience in your general high school curriculum. And that's something you're getting to a point, the precipice, honestly, of either a lot of success or a lot of failure. And that's not a bad thing either way, but sometimes they have to go through those failures to get to those successes. And that's something that I know that I had to experience in the middle of the pandemic. Graduating into 2020 was hard, and I was not well equipped for that. Our membership this year, we had 15 members at program registration. We had 4 members withdraw from the program in March before the final session. The full day session was a bit of a hard sell for some of the students. We really worked with them to try to address their concerns, and we were definitely willing to work with their schedules. We understand that, some of them are seniors and they are in college classes and they are going to be moving to college this next year. So they want to have those prerequisites out of the way. We completely understand that. And we were more than willing to work with their schedules, but I really think the catalyst for it was the fact that they had to deliver, a prepared speech in front of others. That was a really, really, that was a point of contention for sure with some of these students. And we emphasized to them, like, you can do this. Like, we will accommodate you, honestly, to make this work for you. It's not just about delivering a speech. It's not just that we want you to get up there and talk. We want you to feel confident. We want you to feel good about your ability to deliver a speech. We want you to feel positive about going in front of an audience and speaking to them. Or we want you to feel positive about going up to a stranger and networking and asking them what their name is and introducing yourself to them. Oh, sorry. I wanted to talk about this too. At the bottom right here, we have our juniors at the beginning of the registration and our amount of seniors at the beginning of the registration. We pretty consistently had more juniors than seniors, which was not something that I was anticipating, to be honest. But the juniors really were more interested in the program than the senior class was this year. And I would like to say too, the juniors were more engaged in the program for the most part, I would say. Here we have our financial award. Our award amounts were determined by the Hugo Main Street Board. We also had a set criteria and sort of parameters for qualifying for the award. It's very similar to our expectations of the students. Members must attend all sessions, or, if they couldn't attend a session, we ask that they watch the recorded session and engage in any session work that they missed. Member must be in good academic and behavioral standing with Genoa Hugo High School. Member must submit a feedback survey, as well as a reflection form detailing their experience and how they intend to use their financial award. And the financial award must be used for an appropriate purpose. Examples include, but are not limited to, college, vocational, technical training, leadership, personal, professional development. One example that I talked to one of the students about at the school was the HOBie leadership training that Colorado does. I don't know if anyone is familiar with that. I believe that the school itself does provide a scholarship for that, but we only have one scholarship for that. So with ours, a student could afford at least to cover some of the expenses of this leadership training. And we're benefiting, the school, helping them out a little bit, because that was something that was a big struggle. I know even when I was in high school, there was only one HOBie award, and there were often several kids who wanted to attend. Financial award, we intend to distribute our financial awards to the members at the Genoa Hugo academic award ceremony this upcoming May. And here I just have some membership feedback. How would you rate your overall experience with the program? Do you think that and this was on a scale of 1 to 10. Do you think that participating in this program has helped you to develop new skills or improve existing skills? Do you feel that the program has made you more prepared for real-world scenarios, such as job interviews, investment proposals, or professional meetings? And then here I have some quotes from our members, just discussing how they can formulate speeches significantly easier. This was in response to a question about how the program is helpful. It is helpful to the overall well-being of the community because it brings other people for volunteers and it helps to educate people about Hugo. It made me a better leader wherever I am. And when it comes to being social, it helped me talk with people who will help me better my future with wanting to be a businesswoman. And then again, I included some more quotes from our peers. I love these kids, and I was really, really excited to include their feedback in it. This program helps create young leaders. The community needs leaders that are starting off young and have the time to grow. The program gets more people to step up and become leaders our community will need and be able to give their opinion for the rights of all the people in the community. The program has helped me grow. I can easily go up to people and talk to them. Our table topics provided valuable lessons in speaking on a topic without preparation. And, given his career path, he's interested in the skills going to be useful to him. And then right here, we have you recommended this program, or would you recommend this program to other students? And then have you noticed any positive changes in yourself or your approach to leadership since participating in the program? An 83.3% yes, and we're still waiting on some more responses. And then I just have the program impact right here. Obviously, one of our biggest focuses obviously was impacting the youth, but we also were excited to see some of these other impacts throughout the progress of the program. The program really enabled students to be actively informed and involved in the events and efforts of their community and, with revitalizing, improving, and engaging with their community and with Hugo. Civic education, youth were educated about the importance of historic education or historic preservation, community planning, and sustainable economic development, as well as many other components, and actors that are involved in shaping their community. Youth were uplifted, encouraged, and equipped with the tools necessary to be leaders in their community. Through the sessions, members developed skills in communication, leadership, problem solving, and interpersonal relationships. And then intergenerational collaboration. That was something that has been really interesting to see, honestly. The Junior Main Street program fostered collaboration in the community and community development between youth and our adults of the community. A platform for exchange of ideas and knowledge was formed across generations through this program. And I know that might sound silly, but even for myself, learning from these kids and hearing their opinion on our town and their perspective on some of the issues that we have is really, really interesting. And it is eye-opening to just kind of have a little bit of a different perspective. They're not that much younger than me, but they have a completely different perspective than I do. Long-term and future impact. Through investing in the youth of Hugo, the program has invested in the future of Hugo. There are long-term benefits associated with encouraging youth to be active and engaged citizens, and it provides the opportunity to cultivate leaders that are dedicated to creating a sustainable and prosperous community. Program importance. The rural youth of Hugo do not have access to traditional programs such as the Future Business Leaders of America. And I mentioned previously that they no longer have a speech team. And I actually graduated from Genoa Hugo when I was in attendance there. They did have a speech team, and it was really disheartening to hear that they were no longer doing that. That is something that I do feel greatly benefited me. I'm still not the greatest at public speaking, but I was a whole lot worse before I joined the speech team. And that's a place where I was able to kind of cultivate those skills and that experience that I needed to get over my fears and get to a point where I could even speak in front of a crowd without stuttering or without stepping over my words completely. And the Hugo Main Street is committed to providing future generations with equitable access to such opportunities through the Future Leaders of Rural Lincoln County program or our Junior Main Street program. There is undeniable value in equipping youth with the tools that they need to be community-minded leaders with the confidence and ability to pursue homegrown innovation. And we genuinely feel that that is what we've done here with the Junior Main Street. The future of the Hugo Junior Main Street is very promising. We concluded our program for the 2023-2024 school year this April, and we are currently developing evaluation and impact measures to assess the effectiveness and influence of the program. We're excited to collect feedback from members, stakeholders, and the overall community to create a comprehensive understanding of how the program affected Hugo, identify areas for improvement, and to better collaborate with the town and our members of the program to increase program accessibility. Additionally, we have intentionally created a framework to ensure that the program is conscientious of the needs, goals, and ideas of the youth that the program is serving. There's not necessarily a set or yearly curriculum because the membership will change yearly as our seniors graduate and as new juniors are made eligible for the program. And we cannot assume that members are all going to have the same ideals or aspirations. And by actively learning more about and investing our time and our interest into these members and their goals, we are better able to facilitate their success. And on the same in the same note, we really want to show these kids like your community wants to invest in you. Your community wants for you to do well. Your community wants for you to succeed. And we want them to see that because not only do we want to support them, but on the flip side, we would also like to encourage them to come back, for them to want to reinvest in their community, for them to feel supported by their community, and for them to want to support their community in turn. Thank you. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, any questions? Thank you, Calissa. Those of you who know me know I get emotional when I'm really happy or proud. So I'm just not going to talk because I'm tearing up. I'm so proud of Calissa and the work that we've done. So thank you. I'm going to stop talking.
Thank you.
I think it's amazing. But yeah, I just loved it because I know so many schools have dropped the speech program and those programs. And we here in Julesburg, Sedgwick County are the same way.
It's tough. It's really, really hard to have educators who can honestly support those programs. I mean, that was the case in Hugo. We had a really passionate educator who was supporting the speech program, and they no longer work at the school, and the speech program just kind of left with them.
I want to be in the classes and take the classes. I need that work. I think that's so valuable. It's amazing. Like locally here, the school does like internship program, connecting businesses with students, whatnot. But, are they really learning these skills needed to further their professional lives? And then also that gap that we have of creating leaders that are invested in our communities. I think that's tough. And I think this is, Jillian, I could see why you're so proud and want to cry, because this is like amazing. It's really beautiful. And it's amazing. It's like a little tiny town. And it's so important because people are leaving or whatnot, and kudos. It's pretty cool. Thank you for sharing this. Good job, for sure.
Thank you. Also, I just realized my camera was not on. I would have had my camera on this whole time, but I didn't know how to turn it on while screen sharing. Sorry, everybody. But now I learned.
Right. Gail, did you have a question?
I did. Calissa, excellent presentation. I really love that you included a lot of notes in there. So when we share this out, it kind of gives people a roadmap on how to build out a program there. You connected with so many different awesome resources. I think just like Sarah, I would benefit from going through this program myself. Very intentional sessions. I thought you really have done an absolutely fabulous job at being able to grow and nurture future leaders, regardless of where they go in their life, and getting them primed for college and interviews and everything else. I mean, just kudos. I have some more questions, but I don't want to take over the conversation. So I will stop at this point and let other people engage you. You might want to stop sharing your screen so we can see everybody's faces.
Thank you.
And I know Calissa touched on it, but I do want to reiterate the fact that our school allowed us to do this during the school week and during the school day. She expressed how difficult it is with time. We could literally, I didn't think we would have any attendees if we did it outside of the school day or on a weekend. Our students go to school 4 days a week, and the rest of the time, their entire lives, to me, seems like high school sports. I am part of running a free art youth art program, and we have the same challenge. So that we have, unfortunately, with the lack of availability of teachers and funds, so much is taken out of the school components that what we graduated with, that prepared us for life and diversified like the way that we think and interact, the student, they're just robbed of that. And so the fact that our superintendent saw our desire, he's spoken at our networking events, we have a great relationship with him, and he's like, yes, and not all the teachers wanted to give up their time, and so this program did take away, what is the name of those primary classes that you have to do?
Prerequisites.
Yeah, this took away from prerequisite classes, and they approved that and they supported it. And so some of those prereq teachers don't like me, and they're like, oh, my students didn't come to my prereq classes. And but we had the entire support of their school team as well, and the board, to say, yes, you can do this during the time here.
The administration was really fantastic, and they were a really big component of us being success. Without
Yeah.
them, like, we would not have even been able to get into the school.
I think we would have had more kids drop out too. Because if you saw the pictures at the beginning and then saw the pictures you can tell the transformation that they went through as humans. And so, to have the school counselor be a support and encourage the kids to keep coming back, because I think it was really important to acknowledge, like for me, I've done public speaking classes my entire school career. Like, I don't even think about public speaking. I just start talking. And these kids, like, some of these kids dropped out because they had to do a public speaking at the end. And it's heartbreaking and sad, but, the ones that I expected to drop out didn't, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But, and that impacts our main streets and our businesses and our survival. And it's like these, so what I originally started out with the programming content, thank goodness I had Calissa and our first help person too, as we, designed the program content, because I was like, entrepreneurship, business, let's do all this. And they're like, no way, like, we got to dial that back to what's, because I'm just like, let's get them in front of the entrepreneurs, and let's get them in this. And it's like, they can't even have a conversation confidently. And so that was a learning lesson for me. So when you all design your brilliant junior Main Street programs, maybe you have kids in school that that already. That was a learning lesson for me as a program developer of how, like, what level the content needs to be impactful.
I just saw, sorry, I was just looking at the chat, and I was looking at from Diana. If we could share the link to the recording with her. Sorry. I thought it was going to be a question for me to answer, and I was like, oh no, I'm missing questions.
No, I will definitely share the link out to everybody who registered, as well as out onto our comms listserv and affiliate listserv.
So does anyone, sorry, Calissa,
no,
you go
ahead. No,
I was going to say, does anyone have any other questions about developing a program or our program? I mean, this is specific to us. The programs that I looked at before we decided this content, there's some, like, Wyoming had a junior Main Street program, very different to this. I don't know which other state has a program. I can't remember which one it was in Midwest, very different to this. So it's not like this has to be your program. But I think the end result and the takeaway is, whatever you choose to do, one, if you want to brainstorm about finding money, call me and we can come up with some ideas that you can pursue. But do something to engage your youth in some way to start them down the road. So that's my mic drop opinion. So
I see that Donna has raised her hand, but I also see she went off screen. Donna, can you hear us still?
Yeah,
There we go.
I am. I'm here. So I was wondering, Jillian, and just so everyone knows, Calissa is my niece. So I take personal credit for how awesome she is.
Somebody's
Um,
got to.
So obviously Lyman does have speech and it does have FBLA, but I'm having a dickens of a time getting any of FBLA or FHA to engage. What do you recommend?
Honestly, that is a good question too, because when we opened up program registration, I really expected more members of the FFA to be a part of the group. And we did have FFA members, just not as many as I had anticipated, because I was a member of FFA. There's a lot of speaking that goes on in FFA. You know, you have impromptu speeches and you do a prepared speaking. And so I really assumed that this would be something that they would be interested in. And we did not have very many FFA members. And I think what we should have done is speak with Leah Henry. Her husband is the ag teacher in Lyman, right?
Right.
I thought so. I was gonna say maybe if you could chat with them or get the also the FBLA teacher around and kind of collaborate on your programming and be like, you know, this is gonna have them be like, this is gonna help you with your FFA stuff, or this is gonna help you with your FBLA stuff, because that was something that one of our I'm not gonna say her name, but one of our FFA members who was also in our group, that's something that she talked about a lot, was that this made her better prepared. This helped her with the stuff that she was doing in FFA. I think that that might help. But I'm honestly not sure. I would love to hear if you have any success with that.
Okay. We are getting a new FBLA teacher, and so I'm excited to kind of interact with her before she's already decided what she's gonna do and not going to do. And so,
Yeah.
but anyway, Mrs. Henry's been pleased. Is she one of your fan club?
No, I mean, like, kind of, like, she likes the program. I love Leia. She's very nice. She's a super nice lady. And I honestly wanted to collaborate with her more. She's just a very busy lady. She's kind of hard to get a hold of, and she's been doing a great job kind of revitalizing the Genoa Hugo FFA. So I honestly probably should have collaborated with her earlier on, but she's been busy.
Well, and I think
Well,
Hugo's gone through a cultural transition because we haven't had strong programs, and
Yeah,
that's given us such a gap. So
she's
if
had
we
to.
had a really strong FBLA program or any FBLA program, our junior Main Street content would be completely different because they
right.
do
They
a
would have that
lot of
groundwork.
it. Yeah, they do a lot of this. But a lot of the times we see our community organizations filling gaps, whether it's in our municipal government or whether it's in our school programming. You know, our community groups step forward and fill some of those gaps. And that's some of the component, again, like I said, I didn't set out originally. I thought we could do, you know, maybe more focused on entrepreneurial work and exposure about business and business development, but we just don't have that. We weren't there. And so as Calissa explained, you know, we've got this ability to pivot and transition our content. And so we're hoping with having the juniors in the program, and this was by design, we were hoping that we could have this feeder that the juniors would come back for the next year and we can continue the content and expand and actually develop them further down the road with what is downtown business, what is economy, what is, you know, what does this look like in a little town, in a real life. And then now you're meeting with business owners. But we were, for the first year, you know, so that's the goal and the intention of why we actually have juniors and seniors and that different level of also the funding that we're providing them, because we're hoping they come back and we can continue expanding them. So
I can see that maybe we're a little closer because we do have speech and FBLA to heading into what your original goals were. Rich and I have worked with the FBLA to judge some of their entrepreneurial sort of things, and business teachers haven't always had a business because they went to school to learn business and then they got out of college and then they teach. And so I can see a real gap. Um, it was awful. Anyway, so that's where I would think that maybe, and we're still getting everything up and going, so it's probably not anything soon for us in Lyman, but I can see that's where we could fill an empty spot for sure.
And I'm gonna just interrupt here real quick because Martha put a question in chat and it actually related a little bit to what Jillian was saying about funding. And I'd be interested to know, yeah, how you plan on doing the next steps, but still to probably more importantly for everyone here is getting started in terms of, yeah,
So
you,
like
you can read the, yeah.
a quick budget overview. So we did not so I went out and sought the funding first because I had no idea. Like, we had so many different grand plans on what we were going to do, and we wanted to do like a final session, not at the school, blah blah blah. Anyway, we figured out along the way, like, the kids aren't going to leave, they're not leaving the town, they're not leaving their comfort zone. And so we had to pivot and change our programming. And so I, mapped out a general budget, and what I thought, well, I called my network of different presenters and speakers that would address this and say, would you be interested in supporting us? How much would you charge? I didn't ask any of them to actually come out to Hugo. And so some of them did not charge us to come to our town. We provided accommodation, but they were just like, we just want to support this program. This is awesome. We're coming. Or, this is so cool. I'm not charging you. And so I budgeted to pay them, but the fact that they did not charge us or did not charge us for travel, things like that, we can now fund it next year. Like, we've got funding for next year because of that. And so we did start out with the goal of wanting to provide $1,000 in award at the end of the program. And we were like, what is the best case scenario if we have 15 kids graduate? And so we started there, and then we added the costs of what our speakers would cost. And then actually we added costs for different booking of different spaces. And so we actually ended up saving that money as well, because we ended up doing it at the school. And so did that answer? So yeah, when we went out for grant funding and when I was looking for funding, I did include those other components. So the speakers that didn't charge us, I did want to provide them with a financial stipend to say thank you. That's just a professional courtesy. Whether they don't deposit their check or not, that's fine. That's on them. But I think it's important for us to be mindful that we all volunteer our life away. And I didn't call them asking for it to be done for free. And so we've been given those funds to spend on this program, and we should spend the funds on the program, because that is just the right thing to do. They'll do that. They would do that paying it forward as well. And so we did that. And then we, with some of our, so at the end, what are we doing with those sack things, the cooler bags?
We want to give them at the ceremony.
So we're doing branded cooler bags with our program name. And the reason why we didn't call it Hugo Main Street Junior Main Street Program is because we will have other students attend this in our town that are not Genoa Hugo students. So the root of this program is we're so small. We have Carville, that's our little sister, and they have 35 kids in their school.
Total.
At some point, those kids are going to attend this program. And so is Araba, and we didn't want to make Lyman feel excluded. And so as we grow and develop, because our plan is to continue this program permanently as it changes, we do want to. And then there's over 10 homeschool kids in our county.
Oh, yeah.
And so we need, the parents are like, oh, our kids are homeschooled. you didn't include us. And we're like, oh, well, we didn't intend to include you. And then we changed our plans and then we mistakenly excluded you. So again, those learning lessons, because it's not a Hugo Genoa school program, it's a Main Street program. And so we will, and that's why we have that's part of the root of our name. And that was really intentional to name that program that way. So we do have little lunch cooler bags that we've got a brand of. You saw Kalissa's slideshow. She's just as good with putting other stuff together. So that'll be, and then it's Future Leaders of Rural Lincoln County, a Hugo Main Street program. So that's how we've branded that. And we're giving out certificates, a financial award, and a cooler bag. And then the rest of them will start seeing our branding on that as well. So that's what some of the money is going to as well.
So is only one person going to win that $1,000, or are you dividing it out by multiple levels?
Oh,
All
each
of
of them is getting $1,000 if they're
These
seniors.
are
Wow.
the seniors, and then
And
the
each
juniors
of
are
the
getting
juniors is getting 500.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
is
That'd be an incentive to keep a lot of people doing it.
Yeah. So yes. Yeah.
And for those who still have time, and if you all have time, Jillian and Calissa, I know
Sure.
that you're very busy people and obviously busy people. We do have a couple of additional questions in chat here. You've alluded a couple of times to the future of the program and whether you have any plans to expand it to include freshmen and sophomore people, and maybe a little bit more of how you're hoping to pursue, continuation.
I'm
Sure.
sorry, I heard a question about sophomore and expansion. Can you say
Oh,
that?
yeah, I think just in general, how you're hoping to continue the program and if you have any plans to include freshmen and sophomore in the future.
We literally closed out
this month.
month. So I don't know. I don't know those answers. I just discussed the closeout with my board last night at our board meeting, and then Calissa is still collecting, final survey feedback, and we will sit and navigate through that. I know that if we expand this program more, we will not be able to give financial awards, and we want to invest in continued learning, and our community is somewhat financially impoverished. A lot of people don't have the opportunity to have $1,000 to pay for textbooks. So, I really want to be able to do that. And we've had other nonprofits come and go that used to offer scholarships for volunteering, and they've gone. They've closed and given up, and so we have to face all these things. I think if we choose to do fundraising, people will support this program. And I also know a lot of our philanthropic organizations are really supportive of strengthening our rural communities. And I know that they will help support us as well. I know, it's not ideal to say, oh, well, we're going to rely on grant funding to continue this program, but that's our reality today.
And then just another quick question. I believe, Calissa is an AmeriCorps, is that correct?
Yes.
And but Junior Main Street was a big portion of your job. It wasn't all of it.
No.
I just about what would you estimate your time commitment has been to keep this program running and successful?
Like percent-wise?
Oh, I would probably say like a third, honestly, of my time. I work around 38 to like 40 hours a week. Sometimes I work more. It's honestly hard to pinpoint. I'm only supposed to work 38 hours a week, but I love this program and I feel very passionately about it. So I go overs. I don't clock those hours, obviously, but I go over oftentimes for the week. But I would honestly say about a third of my time was dedicated to this, probably.
Okay, thank you. I was just curious, and you sound like a Main Streeter already overworking your allotted time.
It's a bad habit. I have Nicholas was yelling at me. My partner was yelling at me last night because I was going through the slides for this, and I was like looking at it.
Yes, Calissa has a political science degree, And I'm fully invested in getting her into being the next governor. And this is the way we get her to drink the Kool-Aid of going into government. Main Street is the first toe.
Well, I know that we're over time, but if Jillian and Calissa are still available, are there any other questions? I see Caitlin's put herself on video, so I don't know if that means you have a question or not.
Oh, I feel emotional about this because I have oh gosh.
Thank you. You're making me feel
you.
good because I was doing that just now.
Oh, good. Well, just the passion shines through. And this is, I think, the most important work that we can be doing is empowering our youth. Oh gosh.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
Kate.
and
Thank you very much.
thank you very much. You have inspired me so much today. You've completely changed my mindset about how I can engage with our students, because I would very much like to develop a program like this. And similarly, my mindset has been entrepreneurship, starting a business, being part of our economy moving forward. But simultaneously have been doing a lot of research about increasing community connection and engagement and infusing just a deep sense of belonging in our community. And I think that's something hard to do, especially in a rural community. And one of the pillars of really infusing a sense of belonging is strong leadership. That's really, I think, the foundation that you can build off of. So your pivot to and just being aware of kind of the engagement early on in the process, and that was going to be important, in developing these students to feel empowered and confident and leaders themselves. I think it's amazing, and I just would love to be able to do the same thing. So thank you so much for this
Thank
today.
you.
It's really wonderful, and I'll probably be reaching out with more questions because
Come on over.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. That means the world to me. Like, seriously, thank you so much.
well, you've done a wonderful job. Those kiddos are so lucky to have you guys.
Indeed, yes. I was going to say thank you so much. Thank you for everything all of you do for your communities, and certainly thank you, Jillian and Calissa, for sharing what you've been doing in Hugo with everyone and inspiring us all and making us weepy. And I do think that I've got notes about what could the state do potentially, right, to help support these programs as well, and see if I can't look into that a little bit more. Too, because it is just incredible and beneficial for the entire state to have these kind of things happen.
I'm going to send you a follow-up email, Tracy, because I think we have a few things maybe we can talk about.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking maybe during our Main Street Managers Summit, once you're finishing up gathering information, Calissa and Jillian, kind of key takeaways, I would love to set a session on the summit. It might be a repeat for some people that are on here now, but I would really love to schedule a session where you guys could present this and get other people that weren't able to join today to possibly, take a look at this as developing our future thought leaders.
Absolutely, Gail. And we'll have some of those answers figured out by then that Tracy was asking, like, what are we doing next?
Yeah.
How are we, what funding do we have in place, going into year 2? So I know that we'll be invited back next year by the school. So yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us this morning, and have a fabulous Thursday.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa. Thanks, Jillian.
Thank you, everyone.